So if you're focused on something, then you can take things into your own control. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not easy. Expect pain, expect anxiety, expect everything to go wrong, and just be cool. Breathe easy, and then just see it out. It's never gonna happen the way you want it to happen, ever. And if it does, do not trust it. It's the devil. I should have to be nice to get somebody to give me something. If my product is good, no matter how I act, you will pay for it.
Yo, yo, yo. It's your boy Broadway Jerobi back again uh, with another episode of Seen Yo Lil Podcast. Uh, what's today? October 26th. So I had to change up the time for the show due to some scheduling constraints, so to speak. Like I use that 10-letter word, constraints. Is that 10 letters? Close enough. Uh Man, I'm gonna be honest. This week, right, I had a couple of things that I wanted to talk about, but um I couldn't quite figure out how to put the questions together, man. Like from what I really wanted to ask, I couldn't figure out how to put the questions in a way where it wouldn't be complicated. You know what I'm saying? And also, I had a couple of questions from last week that I didn't get to. Let me make sure I still have those. Yes. Okay. This one and that one. Okay, cool. Yeah, so man, I've been having this discussion in this group, and I've been kind of, I ain't gonna lie, I've been kind of going in on it because uh Kevin Samuel said on the show last night, he had a guest on, and he was asking the girl, would she be willing to date and marry a man that made $42,000 a year, um, and have two kids with him and marry him and all of that, because she was saying that's what she wanted, you know, meet a guy, have two kids. Well, meet a guy, get married, have two kids, and all of that. And she was 37 years old. And so when he asked her that question, and he specifically quoted the average earning amount for Black men, which is basically 42,000. She said, "Are you asking me if I want to date a broke man, or marry a broke man, or be with a broke man?" However, she said it was, with a broke man. And Kevin went off, man. Like, he went off on that lady. He ended up bringing her back on later on. He made her stand on what she said. You know what I'm saying? But his whole thing was, you don't call average earning men broke. It's average because there's a plethora of people who make it. It's not average because it's low. It's just average because a lot of people in the demographic make that much money. Now, this ain't him saying that part. This is me saying that, right? Just to, like, basically defining what average means. But, he went off on that lady, and he told her, he said, "Who are you to call the average man broke, fool?" He said, "Fool." You know how old people say fool? He said, "Fool." You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, he hung up on her. But he said, "I'm not, y'all don't get to come on my show and disrespect average men, you know." And this is, like, right now, at this point, I ain't gonna lie, this is one of my pet peeves, so to speak. This is one of my championed topics, is the disrespect, the devaluing of average earning men, right? So I've done some research, And the crazy part about it is, as helpful as Google can be, it's so much information. And then at the same time, it's not enough information. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could be looking for something, and then it'll be five, six, seven, eight different things that's giving you hints, but not actual data or the numbers that you're looking for, right? But, like, I'll give you an example. So I Googled what is the average age of a black man in America, right? So the first thing that came up was this one website. I can't remember the name of it. And it said 32, but it was saying that that was the average age of a black person is 32, right? Then I looked again, and again, and I came up this other page that said it was 27, right? So instead of trying to battle over who was right, I just said, I'm gonna take 32, take 27, add them together, divide it by 2, and that's the age I'm gonna use, right? So 32, 27 is 59, divide that in half, uh, and you get well, no. Yeah. It was 32 and 27. So yeah, it was 59. So you split that in half and you get 29. So that's the age I went with, 29. So the average black man is 29 years old. Hey, this matters, right? Because the biggest talking point is that the average black man makes $42,000 a year. And I mean, just off bat, right? If you won a lottery for $42,000 a year, you'd be happy, right? But working a whole year to make $42,000, right? That's gonna be taxed. They don't sound like a whole lot, right? But this is what you have to keep in mind. Our women are saying black man ain't this, black man ain't that, he ain't making no money. When you compare him to the other races, it's just, oh man, they basically saying we trash, right? Here's the thing. So the average black man makes 42K a year. The average black man is 29 years old. The average black man is single and childless. According to the statistics, 51% are single and childless, right? And I also read a statistic that said between the ages of 20 and 29, only 25% of black men have children. So that means more than half, more than average, right? Of black men at the age of 29 don't even have kids, right? So that means again, the average black man, 29, makes 42K a year, don't have any kids, he's single, don't have a wife, right? The average white man, on the other hand, is 44 years old. Now, this is where I was talking about where the internet gets conflicting sometimes as well. So I read on one website where they said the average age for a white person is 58. Right? And I'm like, 58. That's extreme, right? Because they were saying like, oh, it's more than double than that of the minority groups, which was 27. So I don't know if it was the same website or it was another website, but they was just like, if you take all the white people in the US, right, and you go to the person in the middle, that person would probably be 44 years old, right? So that's what I went with. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go with that. The average white man is 44 years old. So the average white man is 15 years older than the average black man. But the average white man makes $52,000 a year, basically $200 more a week. than the average black man. And the average white man does have a child. They are a father, right? 75% of white men between the ages of 40 and 44 have children. They are fathers, right? So if the average age is 44, that means the average white man has a child. If the average age of black men is 29 and only 25% of them have kids, that means the average black man does not have a child. You see how that works? So why are we dogging out black men? If white men only make $200 more a week than them, then the average Mexican man makes like $50 less. Like the numbers go like 1,100 a week for white men, 900 a week for black men, 850 a week for Hispanics. So I mean, they got us by 200. Congratulations, right? So then the talk becomes, well, uh, 42K, and that ain't no money and this and that, right? And you broke. That's what Kevin Samuels told the woman last night. He said any woman who respected a man would not call a man that makes $42,000 a year broke. So here's the thing, you could make 80K a year and be broke, right? It's all about your spending habits, your budget, where you live, the price of living, what you do, right? So you make $42,000 a year. Let's just say you bring it home $3,500 a month. Okay. So out that 3,500, let's say, and I'm gonna be fair. Let's say $2,000. Because I was just gonna say half and say 1,750, right? But let's just be all the way fair, just so I can appease the people who want to say that's not no money, right? So you make 3,500 a month. 2,000 of those dollars goes towards all your bills. So rent, light, gas, cell phone, car insurance, internet. You know what I'm saying? All of those type of bills. You got a couple of credit cards. $2,000 goes towards your bills, putting gas in your car to get back and forth to work. It goes towards your bills, right? All of your bills, your monthly bills come out to $2,000. You're saving $500 a month. You still have $1,000 to eat, go out and eat, take somebody out on the date. Remember, you're average. You're average. So this means you're probably 29 years old. You're probably single and childless. So with that $1,000, you can take somebody out on a date. You can buy yourself an outfit. You can take yourself to the restaurant a couple of times, go out on a movie, have you some drinks. But see, here's the thing. If you don't have major vices, if you're not a drug addict, and I'm including weed in that, if you ain't addicted to drugs, and I'm including alcohol in that, if you're not addicted to smoking cigarettes and smoking a pack a day, like if you don't have some crazy vice that's just eating up all your money, if you're disciplined enough to say, I want to take this trip, and this trip is going to cost me $1,700. So I'm finna take this amount of money and put this in the savings. I'm gonna put 200 up for the next 8 months till I get the 16, and then just peel 100 off, and there go the money. So that's how I'm gonna make this trip. If you disciplined enough to do that, you're not broke. But see, I believe the problem is that our women are professional consumers. See, they think if you can't go out and buy all the Birkin bags and the red bottoms and whatever else, if you can't buy all that stuff, then you broke. Because for them, it's about satisfaction right now. It's about feeding my insecurities right now. It's not about future. It's not about 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from now. It's not about that for them. It's about what can you do for me right now? What can I have that I can look at somebody else and turn my nose up to them about? You know, it's really a sad state that we're in now that our women have basically become professional consumers. All they want to do is shop, 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 shop. And nothing ain't never good enough. So you're gonna just keep replacing things over and over and over and over again. And unfortunately, we see them do this with men, where they just keep replacing them over and over and over again. If there's 10 good things about a man, they can have one that has 7 of those things, and that just ain't good enough. They'll replace that man because right now I need this thing from him, and I can't get that thing from him. So therefore, I'm gonna go get this dude, even though this dude is only 60% of the man I want. But right now, this dude got that thing that you don't have. And I'm so selfish and insatiable that I got to have that now. So therefore, I'm rocking with that guy. You see what I'm saying? And I know some people gonna watch this and they're gonna gaslight and say, "Oh, where does that happen?" Blah, 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 blah. And then you can go get 20, 30, 40 videos. And all they're gonna say is, "That's them girls. And that's just the ones you know." And blah, blah, blah. And they're gonna act like they don't have these same stories in their life. This is why the manosphere exists, people. This is why you have, like, I would even include me in this, even though I'm trying to create a body of work that if I died 2 years from now, my son could watch it and get all the lessons that I wouldn't be able to give him while I'm not here. I want him to be able to come back and watch all these videos and be able to apply the things I say on this platform to his life to help him out and solve problems. And because he like his father and he lead with his heart on his sleeve, he's probably gonna run into some complications with women because our women are terrible. They want you to purchase their civility. They want you to buy everything. You got to purchase their respect. I mean, I actually heard a girl say on the platform, "Why do I have to respect you if I don't know you?" What? And that same girl would say in her very next breath that uh, Black women are the most unprotected. Like, you want complete strangers to come to your rescue, to put their life on the line for you, to say, "You know what? Forget my kids, forget my wife, forget my family, forget my life, forget my goals, forget my hopes. This woman who don't even respect me, who sees no need to respect me, is in need of help. So therefore, I'm going to come to her rescue." What? No. It's messed up out here right now, right? So one of the topics from last week that I didn't get to was, should men risk their lives to intervene in domestic disputes? Should men risk their lives to intervene in domestic disputes? Because I've seen at least 4 stories this year alone where men have died intervening in domestic disputes. And, I tend not to read whole story. I don't even be wanting to saturate my brain with all of the trauma, right? But I mean, so I can't say if they knew those women or if they were just bystanders or what. All I know is those 4 men are gone. whatever they had going on, whoever they was loving, kids they might have been raising, parents maybe still alive, brothers and sisters, siblings, cousins, aunts, they all had to bury their people because they chose to intervene in these domestic disputes. I used to be that guy. And full transparency, I have my own domestic background. And I still used to be that guy. But it was mostly me trying to stop the guy from being in that situation. I might see a guy getting into it with his girl. I don't run up like, oh man, that's a female. And I don't even know what happened. And I know how ruthless women can be. So I don't just automatically assume that this woman is in danger. But I know that brother is. I know he is. I know whatever he do and whatever he say will be used against him in the court of law. I know that. So I used to run up, hey man, hey bro, chill out for the police come, bro. Man, somebody gonna hear this, somebody gonna call the police, whatever. All she gotta do is yell help or stop or somebody get him or somebody call the police and your whole life finna change. It's finna be mad difficult for you. Right? So I used to do that. Now I ain't saying nothing. I don't got nothing to say. I ain't getting involved. Straight up and down. I had to go through 28 weeks of anger management classes once before. And the major lesson that I took from that class, really the only lesson that I took from that class, was that we have to be responsible for the choices that we make. Yes, it might be totally bogus what somebody doing to you, what they saying to you, how they treating you, how they making you feel, whatever. But I'll just give you the story. So I'm in this class because I had a domestic violence incident, and I'm mad, I'm upset, I'm angry the first couple of days, right? And the lady, she just kept, and then on top of that, I was upset because they had a lady running the class. I'm like, how y'all gonna have a lady running the class? This lady don't have no empathy for men in this situation. She don't understand it from my point of view at all. What I came to realize is that that lady really did not care about gender. She didn't care whether or not you actually did it or if you didn't. She didn't care about whether or not you was innocent or guilty. She wasn't there to say women are the victim. Man, look, that lady had one major lesson. You got to be responsible for your choices. This was how she got me. She said, did you know that girl was crazy before this incident happened? What could I say? I mean, I could lie and be like, man, I ain't know nothing. I don't like lying. It makes me depressed to have to lie. So in my head, yeah, I did. Yep, I knew she was crazy. Right? When I first met her, she was crazy. She got pregnant the first time we had sex. She used to fight me all during her pregnancy. Of course, I ain't hitting her back. She pregnant. Yeah. So after the third day, her drilling it in my head, and then another person came into class, and they was all upset. Man, it's this girl, and she this, and she that, and she this. And I was able to sit back and look and basically see myself. I saw how I was acting. I saw how I was sounding. I saw how I wasn't taking responsibility for my choices. Not even the choice of when we was fighting. Not even that choice. Because I still defend what I did to get that domestic. Hindsight being 2020, I'm going to be 100% with you. I'd do it again. Knowing the outcome, I would do it again. But because what she did was bogus. And if the shoes was reversed, nobody would blame her for doing what I did. So, yeah. But also hindsight being 2020, if I could go back before that, I wouldn't have even been in that situation. Wouldn't have even been in that situation, which probably means I wouldn't have my daughter. So, baby girl, if you're watching this, I don't regret you at all. It is what it is. I learned how to take the good with the bad. Can't have one without the other, like I was telling you the other day. But like that lady said, we deal with people that we know are traumatized. We deal with people that we know are quote unquote crazy. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we are excited about it. You hear women say all the time they don't like the nerds. They don't like the good guys. They like the bad boys. That's what they like. That's what they are attracted to. That's what tingles their loins. That's what they consider alpha. Right? So the same can be said for men. You know, you see these men out here, they could have a good woman, they'll walk all over her, but then they'll get with somebody that's loud and belligerent and all of that and stay with that girl for years and put up with her BS, you know. So that's something inside of us, you know, that we got to tame. But the fact of the matter is that you have to be responsible for the choices that you make. And that's what that lady was drilling home. And after, like I say, after the third day, I was in there leading the class. And guys was coming in, and everybody was coming in with them same stories. And it was the girl did this and the girl did that. And I would sit there and I would be listening. I'm like, man, yeah, man, oh man, that's terrible. Man, she should have never did that. Hey, did you know she was like that before that day? You did, didn't you? You the reason why you in this class, not her. You the reason why you got to pay $20 every week for the next 28 weeks. $560 out of your pocket. You're the reason, not her. Because you chose to deal with her even though you knew what it was. Because another problem we have is that we be thinking we can change people. People be having, I mean, even when you're young, people be having 16, 18, 21, 25, 30 years of experience, 30 years of trauma, of toxic situations, of programming, of behavioral settings. And we think we're gonna come in and our penises and our coochies and our words and our game and our looks is gonna make them be different. Only in the beginning. Everybody puts on their Sunday's best until they get comfortable. Until you tell them I love you. Until you've been inside of them. Until you've made them secrete. You know what I'm saying? Like, then, okay, well, I could let my hair down and show you this other side of me too. And this should be okay because you said you love me. You in my house eating my kids' cereal. You know, when you in my house laying up and you ain't paying no bills, I'm buying you red bottom. You know what I'm saying? We think all these different things is going to make us change people, you know, and it's just not the case, man. I'm gonna pause this conversation right now because I got a guest joining the show right now.
What's up?
Cuzzo.
What up, man?
What up, man? Mr. Oscar Lester, aka Triple Blak. What up, cuz?
Man, all good, baby. How's it going with you?
Man, I'm all right, man. I need to lose like 4 pounds, but I'm good though.
You all right?
Yes, sir, man. What's going on with you?
Man, just, grinding, baby, trying to eat. Same as usual.
No doubt, man. How the family doing? Everybody
Everybody,
good?
yeah, how about you?
Man, listen. Everybody good, right? But my daughter right now she's in a sticky situation. It ain't the worst thing in the world. It ain't really all that bad. But she's in a little sticky situation, but she's trying to decide whether or not she's gonna step out on her own or stay at home with moms.
Mm.
And honestly, and I feel kind of bad because I ain't had this conversation with her yet, but I don't think she's ready. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that she's really ready to step out on her own, man. I think she needs a little bit more time. I think she needs to heal emotionally and mature psychologically before she steps out trying to, get a job, an apartment, car, and take on that daily routine. I mean, up until this point, she hasn't really showed me that she can handle it.
How
You know
old?
what I'm saying? Oh, she just made 20 this year, man.
Okay.
And so I'm gonna have this conversation with her probably tomorrow. I was supposed to do it today, but I just got too much going on. But I'm gonna have this conversation with her tomorrow, man, because I don't want to say it in a way where it comes off as if, dad don't believe in you, because it's not that. You know what I'm saying? It's not about believing that she can achieve this. It's about perceiving that she's not ready now.
Mm.
Right? So how old is your oldest daughter?
My oldest is 32.
32 years old.
Youngest, she'll be 25 on the 25th of November.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You have a 32-year-old, man. So let me ask you this then. How old was she when she first stepped out on her own? The
I'm
oldest.
just thinking about that. I think she was 20, if 21 at the oldest, but she may have still been 20.
Yeah.
But
was it like apartment and all of that, or was it college?
Well, it was first college and then apartment.
Mm-hmm.
With college, I wasn't as well. It was still kind of a challenge because she was away. She was out of Chicago. She was at Northern, so it wasn't crazy far. But just the fact that it was the first time she wasn't somewhere where I could just get at her if I needed to.
Right.
And so it was a bit of an adjustment, but that was a more structured environment. So I wasn't as, reticent about letting her go. But then when she decided to move off into her own apartment, luckily the spot that she moved to was in a building that my mother-in-law owned. You feel me?
Yeah.
It was that extra cushion there, so I didn't have to always be sitting there monitoring her, but I know if anything went left, I was going to hear about it.
Right.
So I would say, in that sense, it was probably the best case scenario. But my oldest, she's the one who's always been the most headstrong and the most I don't want to say rebellious, because she never really rebelled, but she had the most buck in her, what I'm saying? And so something that I learned in dealing with her over the years is it's better to ask questions than to give directives, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do.
Her natural tendency is to do the opposite of what somebody trying to tell her to do. You know, so by asking questions, okay, so you're saying that you're ready to, you know, be on your own. What does that look like? You know, describe your plan to me, you know, because a lot of times young people have an idea, but they don't really have a plan.
Facts.
You know, and so it's just a matter of just drawing that out and getting to suss out the details that, you know, 9 times out of 10, they probably have overlooked or disregarded completely. So, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, like I actually not too long ago, I had a conversation with my youngest because she just graduated and she's, you know, she was asking like, so, you know, what is it? How much money should I have once I decide to step out on my own? What's, you know, and I suggested, you know, she might want to tally up all of her expenses and have, you know, whatever that total goes out to, she needs to have 3 months of that put to the side. You know what I'm saying? So if your finances come out to $1,500 a month, then you need to multiply that by 3 and have at least that much off in the cut just in case, you know. And when they start thinking about things like that, you know, okay, well, I need $4,500 just in the, you know, set aside, not to mention, you know, security and first month and utilities and furniture and food and heat and lights.
Facts.
You know, so when you start asking all these questions, okay, so have you taken this into consideration? And then you still, you know, you still like to, you know, have a social life too on top of that, and you want to look cute, and you got, if you got to have a job, and if you're gonna have a job, you got to get there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you know, they see, because a lot of times they romanticize that whole thing. All they thinking is, you know, I ain't got my parents telling me what to do and watching me as I come and go, and I got people over and woo, woo. Yeah, but you know, you the one who, you the house, you know, you all the house fall in your lap. So are you prepared for that? And if not, then you need to get prepared. I'm not telling you you can't do it. I'm just telling you what it takes to do it right. You feel me?
And see, and that's the thing with where I feel like my daughter, I don't think she really ready for the grind. And one of the reasons why I don't think she ready for the grind is because usually, and especially with women, it seems to me, they usually pick a field, right, that they're gonna get into. And then they at least if I'm just gonna be working, then I'm gonna be doing this. She ain't really did that. You know what I'm saying? She out here like the average dude. I'm gonna go to this warehouse, or I'm gonna go to that warehouse. You know what I'm saying? And you would end up bouncing around like that. You know what I'm saying? And that's not conducive with maintaining apartment, like rent, gas, cell phone, internet. You know, you talking about you want a car. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be car note insurance. I mean, you can't really, you know, have that bouncing around and all of that when you're trying to maintain your own livelihood and your own you know, place to live and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So with my son, it seemed like it's kind of easier with him because I just put a plan together. Like, dude, when you turn 18, this is what it is. And I ain't trying to hit nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have a whole plan mapped out already for him, and this is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not even trying to hear nothing you got to say. Ain't no, but dad, I want to, okay. Because he talks about, he wants to be a gamer, right? Oh, you know, all these young kids want to do the gaming and the streaming. Okay, I get you all the stuff to do that. But you're going to do this too. So just in case the gaming thing don't turn into a bunch of big bucks for you, you still got, you know, this thing that you can depend on and already have it. Because I want him to be on his own by 2021. You know what I'm saying? I don't want him staying up under his mom or her boyfriend. Look, I know her boyfriend ready for Jeremiah to get out. I'm ready for my girl kids to get out. That's part of the reason why we ain't living together right now. You know what I'm saying? Because it's the mom's nature to want to protect their kids, and they don't realize sometimes they overprotect, and then you underdevelop the kids with that. You know what I'm saying? You're not really motivating or pushing them to get out. You know what I'm saying? And then y'all, you want to sit around and talk about what men ain't doing, but I'm like, well, y'all the ones raising them. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be willing to step aside a little bit and let them breathe, push them out there. My son, mama won't even make him work, man. I'm like, dude, if you was living with me, you'd be working, right? Ain't no way around this. At 16, I want you to have license and working. You know what I'm saying? Like our cousin, Tim's son, he's 16, working, going to school. His mom gave him her little Nissan, little trap car. You know what I'm saying? That's how it's supposed to be. She's preparing him to get out on your own. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know, man. I hope that I can approach the conversation in a way where she knows, like I said, I believe in you. I believe you can achieve these things. I know you can. I know who your mom is. I know who your grandma is. So I know the cloth that you cut from. You know what I'm saying? But emotionally right now, and psychologically right now, I don't think she's ready. I think she should pick something to focus on. And then like a surgical tech or something like that. Go get the little certificate or whatever that you need. Then step out. Because now you got something that no matter what, I can go get a job in this. You know what I'm saying? That's what my lady did. She went and got the pharmacy tech thing. She couldn't get a job up here because we went to Iowa. She ended up getting a job in the Kmart. Then we moved to Louisville. She ended up getting a job at the hospital. Now she's a supervisor. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm trying to convince her, like, okay, look, you got all the experiences, you got the titles, you got the awards. It's time for us to come back to Chicago. I mean, not necessarily in the city, you know what I'm saying? But I want to come back to this area, man, because I grew tired of being so far away from family. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how Kai and Sean and Describe doing it, man. I don't know how they getting along so well down there alone.
They're so in love. All they need is each other.
That's a fact, though. That is a fact. I will give you that. Yes. Yeah, they. You know what? I'm glad you said that, because that can give me a segue into this question, man. Does love matter?
In what sense?
In the sense of having a relationship and trying to build something. I mean, in the 80s, we had that song, Ain't Nothing Going On But the Rent, and I don't want no scrubs and all of this and that. And I mean, at the beginning of the show, I was talking about a debate that I've been having in this Facebook group where these women, they are continuously dogging black men, right? Because the numbers suggest that the average black man makes $42,000 a year. And my argument was the average white man makes $52K. I mean, so the average white man makes $200 more a week. So why are they trying to make it seem like, the black man is just losing? We make $50 more per week on average than Hispanics. So like we basically in the middle. You know what I'm saying? And it seems like, from what I can tell, love does not matter anymore, man. I mean, I was growing up, that's all I thought it was about. Of course, that's naive. You know what I'm saying? You got to have some money because you got to pay for things. And I mean, nobody can really can prepare you to be in a relationship and live with somebody and have to, have bills and kids. And like, once it gets thrust on you, you realize, man, mom and dad had a point when they was telling me not to grow up too fast. You know what I'm saying? But I'm a tourist, cuz I'm still a hopeless romantic. I'm still an emotional guy. Lead with my heart. You know what I'm saying? But I swear, all around me, it seems like love just doesn't even matter anymore. Does it matter?
I think I don't know if you could just paint with such a broad brush in terms of either it matters or it doesn't. I think there's a difference in the quality of life that people experience who believe that it does matter versus those who don't. And so it may not matter to all people, but yeah, for the people who decide that it does matter, I think their lives are probably a lot richer than those who just focus more on the materialistic, capitalistic, whatever side of things. You feel what I'm saying? So it's and it's not always a romantic piece.
Right.
Love means, I want for you what you think will make you happy, what makes you happiest. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's not me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you see as your highest self, that's what I want for you. Love means when bad things happen to you, I cry. When good things happen to you, I rejoice. You feel what I'm saying? I want what's best for you. That's love. Now, if it's just a matter of I need you to make sure that I'm riding slick and I'm dripping and I'm, you know what I'm saying? Then as long as we both cool with that, he may just want an arm candy. He may just want somebody who look fly and he willing to pay for that. And if they both cool with that, they can, they can work something out. I think whatever the situation is, we need to both be clear and in agreement on the front end. You feel me? Don't lure me in with love when all you're really looking for is a payday. You did.
Right.
So, if all you looking for is somebody who, can keep you laced and you willing to, what I'm saying, be his trophy, whatever, and he cool with that and y'all agree that that's how y'all gonna roll, I don't have a problem with that. My problem isn't when you front like you one thing when you really something else.
Right.
You did. So
I've heard a few guys in the so-called Black manosphere on YouTube say that love doesn't really matter, that it's really all about duty. Because I'm me, I can't agree with the statement that love doesn't matter. But I am trying to determine, is duty more important than love?
What is duty?
Well, so the way it's being framed is duty is when you say, I'm going to get with this guy and I'm going to get married and I'm going to have kids and I'm going to be a wife and I'm going to be a family and this and that. And it's not because the guy looks good or because he has a six pack or any of that. It's because he's going to be a good father, a good provider, a good so-called alpha male, right? From the female perspective. And the same for the male. I'm going to get with this woman and I'm not getting with her because she's just the best looking thing, but I'm getting with her because she's marriage material. She's mother material. She's going to be the one raising my kids, holding down the fort while I'm out chasing the bag and building the legacy. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's duty. I'm not getting with this person because I love, like, it's people that's actually saying dating is a waste of time. Like, you shouldn't be dating. Like, you should meet somebody and within 3 weeks, you know what it is. And within 6 months, y'all married and you doing your whole thing. It's like, forget love. You know what I'm saying? Forget the emotional connection. It's just about duty. And they're saying, like, this is the way that you create communities and families, and that love was one of the biggest things that ruined everything, right? I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but I can say that I did not have this perception of duty. And I think not having that perception of duty ruined a few experiences and a few relationships I had, what I could have done better at building a legacy. So I guess my question to you is, especially when you're older, right? I mean, they say most men come into their financial stride in their late 40s and 50s. But at any age, I guess, is duty more important than love, or should you be trying to find some sort of balance?
I don't know if there is a more important. It's just a question of what it is you're trying to accomplish and what's the most efficient means of doing that. You feel? So I mean, when I think of duty, I think of like obligation and um like something you have to do, and I think, we all free thinking individuals and we have, um free will. So I don't know about obligation, but if you have a particular goal in mind, generational wealth, what have,
Mhm.
then I believe that there are certain ways of approaching that are more effective than others. And I think, the whole romantic piece may blur the lines in a lot of ways if
Mhm.
your ultimate objective is to determine generational wealth.
Mhm.
Not to say that the romantic piece, there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that that doesn't fit into the equation always when your focus is trying to build a legacy. So as in terms of that piece, I would say I would probably lean more towards commitment than duty.
Mhm.
I see a value in you, um, not just as a breeder or, what I'm saying, but
Right.
you actually someone who I would want to help me parent my children. You're actually someone who I feel is worthwhile, so I'm willing to
Mhm.
commit myself to you and to building something, you know, I think for me at least, I'm more likely to jump in based on those types of thoughts and emotions than the notion that I have some type of duty to just make babies and start businesses and build communities. And I'm doing this is because this is somebody who I chose to commit myself to and build a future with. And I think that together we can, what I'm saying, make something better than what's already here.
Mhm.
But not just the fact that, I'm a man, she a woman, so this is what we were put here to do. It ain't like that.
So, do you think that as black men, we and at this point, I guess I have to use the word again, duty. But do you think we have some sort of duty to be trying to create generational wealth, or do you think it's okay for people to just find a lane and be comfortable?
I think men and women both have roles to play in establishing and maintaining societies or communities or families or any type of social group that you want to identify. And I
Mhm.
think that traditionally those have been pretty well defined every place except for the Black community. If you go to just about practically any community on the planet, the role of the man is to provide for and protect himself, the women, and the children. You
Mhm.
know, and the role of the woman is to nurture and teach herself, the men, and the children. So and I think people have knee-jerk reactions where if you tell them, well, this is how it's been done traditionally, they automatically want to look for some alternative.
Mhm.
There's nothing wrong with the way things have been done. That's the reason why it's been done this way for so long, because it's effective.
Right.
It promotes life.
Mhm.
Anything that promotes life is good in my opinion. And this is how we promote and sustain life. We need people to provide. We need people to protect. We need people to nurture. We need people to teach. And I think our natural inclinations um, push us in those directions. You feel like more of a man, the more able you are to provide for your family. You feel like more of a man, the more capable you are of protecting your children and your woman. You feel me? And so
True.
I think that that's the way nature planned it. And I
Mhm.
think that we're on a slippery slope when and I understand that you know, there's a spectrum, and some men are more quote unquote masculine, and some men are less quote unquote masculine, and some women the same thing, and there's variety, and that's fine. That's how it should be. But I don't know if promoting or glamorizing other ways of expressing your masculinity or femininity just for the sake of being other. I don't know how productive that is. I don't know how healthy that is.
Right.
Because people feel, and this is something that I've actually experienced with my niece. You know, she felt ostracized by her friends to some degree because she liked boys.
Wow.
You know,
wow, that's
crazy. I think that's a slippery slope. I think that's something that's, you know, I don't know how healthy or productive that is for us long term. That the fact that we just, you know, reject what our natural inclinations are just for the sake of, you know, whatever.
I mean, listen, I understand exactly what you're saying. You know, because my brother is under the alternative lifestyle, and I mean, it took me a while to get used to that. Actually, as the story goes, it was some guys that was trying to, you know, jump on him, and he didn't feel comfortable enough contacting me because he thought I wouldn't care because they was messing with him because of his lifestyle. And I'm like, dude, I'm your brother. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm your oldest brother.
Before anything.
Right. Before you call anybody else, you're supposed to call me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't care what they was messing with you for. I'm coming, we throwing hands, and we'll discuss whatever later. You know what I'm saying? So after, and I think he was like maybe 16, 15, 16 when that happened. And ever since then, I just got over it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna let this drive a wedge. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to be around or deal with it. That's your life. You know what I'm saying?
And people are people. Everybody is different some type of way, you know?
Right.
Just the matter of the emphasis that folks have to place on. You know what I'm saying? Why?
Yeah, it's just like with the don't body shame thing and how they using Lizzo and just everything, and she just, oh, it's okay to be big, it's okay to be big, it's okay to be big. It's like there was no don't be big campaign.
Like I said, it wasn't. Exactly.
You know, the only people that was really promoting healthy lifestyles or healthy living was people in that industry. And that's what they're supposed to do. If you own a gym, you know what I'm saying, or if you're selling healthy foods or nutrient foods, or you trying to be somebody's coach or whatever, yeah, you're gonna promote that. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, so yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying. It is overbearing, and the thing that I hate is that it seemed like they putting our people out on the forefront for it. You know what I'm saying? I can't watch a TV show without it being some sort of representation of this. And it just be unnecessary.
That's
you know what I'm saying? Just come out of the blue like, oh yeah, and by the way, you know what I'm saying? It's like, wait, now I don't even want to watch the show anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because you just tried to force feed me this.
And I don't know what your preferences are. The point is, I don't want to hear about it. You know,
I could care less.
Your business. I don't want to hear yours. I'm just trying to watch a show. You know what I'm saying? Right. Supergirl, and all of a sudden, her sister got to have.
Right.
I just want to watch Supergirl.
You know, to be honest, I don't even be wanting to see the heterosexual sex scenes.
That's what I'm saying. I don't.
You know what I'm saying? I don't need that to be entertained.
If I'm watching a adventure or a thriller or that has nothing to do with why I came to
At
this.
all.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Right. It's for real.
So if that's something that I want to research and investigate, and then, okay, that's one thing. But if
Right.
I haven't gone out looking for this information, I don't get why I need to get
Right.
exposed to it. And like you said, on either side of the,
Either side. I
you
could care
know,
less.
yeah,
I
right.
mean, listen, full transparency, I used to be a real heavy porn watcher. I ain't as much no more now. So if I want to see that, I can go straight to it. I don't
Nobody
need
can.
that, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And everything I watch, you know what I'm saying? Even though Uncle Gus make fun of me, because every time one of them scenes come on, here we go with this again. You know what I'm saying? Like why was this necessary right here? You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I do trip out on that a little bit, man. Here's a interesting question. We kind of almost went there. I don't know if this is gonna be a tough one for you, but this is another one of my champion topics, right? Because we were talking about the Black family, and I was watching this video last night, and this guy said it was a dude. I think his name was E. Franklin Frazier. He was some sort of sociologist from back in the day. And he said that this guy, according to him, in 1957, the Black family, the marriage rate in the Black community was at 92%. And this was more than anybody else. So it was way more Black people married, way more nuclear families in the Black community than even in the white communities, right? And so he started talking about what changed and stuff like that. But for my research, the thing that first incited the change was feminism in the women's movement. This is what really started the decline in marriages, was feminism in the women's movement, because during the Second War, a lot of women had to go to work because there wasn't enough men left to work, because a lot of men were all fighting in the war. And so after having that piece of the pie, you know what I'm saying, and going out and working and getting a paycheck, they did not really want to turn back to that. You know what I'm saying? It was like, look, I don't know about this going back to just sitting around in the house. I like getting up and going out and making this money. You know what I'm saying? And feeling empowered and in charge of stuff, right? And then we had this whole movement after that in the 60s where it was feminism and free love and all of that, man. And I mean, I got documentaries, I got video clips, I got all type of stuff from women back then saying how, man, listen, I don't think I even need a man to raise my kids. I could do it on my own. I don't want no man, because then I got to deal with him and him trying to tell me what to do and this and that and blah, 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 blah. And I guess my question is, do you think, from your knowledge, that feminism played a part in the undermining of Black families?
No.
Wow. Okay. Go deeper.
Feminism is a white woman's piece, a white woman's movement. Mm-hmm. You're going to always have those outliers, the sisters who, want to say, yeah, we did it. And those are the ones who get the sound bites. And those are the ones, when you research, who pop up. But mm-hmm. Black women have always worked.
No doubt.
Black women have always worked. Most likely, they would have been the primary breadwinners. So when white women went out and got jobs and discovered their liberation and all that wasn't something that was our experience, because Black women had already been doing it. Mm-hmm. But these white women tried to tie their struggle to the Black woman's struggle. Mm-hmm. And in order to legitimize because they were working by choice. True enough, the war was going on and they needed people in the factories and what have you. But up until that point, they had the luxury of being what they call them, not stay-at-home moms.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was an option for our women.
Yeah.
And that whole, feminism piece, like I said, there's some sisters who drew off into it, but for the vast majority of Black women, they was at work. They ain't had time to be doing all that. You feel what I'm saying? But they try to, just like how you have folks who try to tie their struggle to civil rights and when their issue has nothing to do with the fact of how they look or how they were born or what they are. It's about, their particular political or whatever social orientations. But yeah, I've heard that argument before, but I have to push back against it because I think a lot of what undermined the Black family came directly from the United States government and their policies on providing families with governmental supports based on who was in that family or who was in that household. And there was more of an incentive for women to represent themselves as single mothers because otherwise they couldn't receive the benefits that the government was supposed to provide,
Right. And that started in 1964.
Yeah, and then there's the whole idea of the emasculation of the Black man, and not providing them with quality education and employment to where he can provide for his family, which we just said is one of the essential functions of a man. How you gonna just sit here when you can't get hired anywhere, you can't make any money, you can't contribute to the household, but your wife carrying all the weight, but you still run around trying to beat your chest and call yourself the man of the house? You'd be better off. So let me get the hell out of here. Let her do her thing, and at least they're gonna eat if I'm out of the way. So it's a lot more. I believe a lot more layers to that piece than just something that's not to say feminism might not have played a part, but I don't think that we can just put the whole blame on feminism.
Right. And that's what I was about to say, is that it's never really one thing, right? When you look at just look at cancer, bro. You know how many different ways it is to get cancer? It's really ridiculous when you think about it. You know what I'm saying? You can get it from food. You know what I'm saying? You can get it from smoking cigarettes. You can get it from certain chemicals. It's all different types of forms of them, right? And I feel like the same thing happened with the undermining of the Black family, is that is, like you said, it's many layers, right? But everything has an origin point, right? And that's how I try to look at things, because the way you solve most problems is you figure out how it started, right? And so I even like to use, and I'm not really a big religious person, but I like the Bible. It's a lot of good stuff in the Bible, good lessons and principles to live by. And if you go back, I remember I had a debate with this one guy before, because he was saying that sin didn't come upon man until after Adam ate the apple, right? What I don't like is when people when they interpret, right? I like to take things at face value, like, what does it say? That's what it is. I'm not adding to it. I'm not taking from it. That's what it says, right? And so when I look at in the Bible, when the serpent came to Eve and he offered Eve the apple, right? And somebody else made this point to me. They said, well, when you think about it, they didn't have knowledge of good and evil yet, right? So it wasn't like she was doing anything evil. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have knowledge of it. So what was the driving force, you know what I'm saying, behind her even wanting the apple? You know what I'm saying? But the serpent told her, if you eat the apple, you will be just like God. You have the same powers and stuff like him. He know that. That's why he don't want you to eat it. And so she took it, right? And that's the same way how I look at what happened to Black women in the 60s. They came with that feminism. I don't know what percentage you would put on that, but it affected a lot of women. A lot of women And then it really trickled down in the 80s, but it started in the 60s where a lot of women started saying they didn't want no man. They didn't want to have to deal with no man. And that was based on the feminism thing. And then it became well, you know what? Not only can you a woman and you can work and you can do all this other stuff like the man can do, then we're gonna give you the apartments. We're gonna give you the funds, the food, we're gonna give you all this place. But remember, you said you didn't want no man, right? So you can't have no man in these places, right? Then they went from there to they started taking all of the jobs out of the communities. Because back in the day, them guys was walking to work. Warehouses right in the neighborhoods. They started taking all of the jobs out of the community. And they started moving them all out into the suburbs, places where black people wasn't going to go. They get lynched. You know what I'm saying? Trying to go to some of these places. I mean, from that point on, once the jobs was gone, what do most people do when they're struggling? They turn to drugs, right? First, it was heroin. And then in the 80s, they came with the crack. I mean, it's a long list of things that help to undermine, you know what I'm saying, the black family. And then during the 80s, I mean, during the 90s after crack, I mean, you had Oprah, Ricky Lake, Sally Jesse Raphael, you know, all these different shows, man, where they was on there kicking it hard. Where are all the good men? And ain't no good men, and we don't know no good men, and we can't find no good men.
But I think that's the point right there, bro. I think that's the point. You know, it's not that feminism calls women to say they don't want no man. It's women, black women saying, I don't want no sorry man. You know, I think every woman wants a man. I think every woman, I think that's in their DNA. But I think that so many women have been let down and hurt and disappointed by so many, speaking in the case of black folks, so many brothers, to where they figure, you know what, I'm probably better off by myself. Because whether they believe that it's just innate within us, or they believe that the government and the society got us so screwed up until we can't do any better, at some point they just give up. They feel like it's hopeless, you know, because after beating your head against a wall so many times, either you're going to wise up or kill yourself, you know? And
well, I understand that, right? But so doing my research, this is what I found out. I found out that after 1960, the marriage rate in the black community basically started dropping 1% every year. It was really like 0.92, right? So, but I just say 1. It was by the time you get to the 80s, right? Because somebody was trying to tell me, well, crack started the decline in marriages. And I'm like, no, it didn't, dude. The marriage rate was already down 23% by this time, when you get to 1980.
But not just in the black community.
No, not just in the black community, but I try not to really discuss the other communities because I don't care. I ain't gonna say I don't care about them like that, right? But I care about us. So I know it affected everybody. I will acknowledge that. But it was everybody.
Yeah, you can identify something as an anomaly if it's happening to everybody.
Right. No, I'm not, and I'm not saying that it wasn't everybody. But what I'm saying is this: I knew guys that were smoking crack. I still chose not to.
No, I'm not talking about.
No. I'm saying no. I know. I'm using that as an example.
Okay.
I'm using it as an example to say that just because somebody else is doing it, don't mean I have to. You see what I'm saying? So yes, there are things that other people did, and I chose to do it too. But I'm just saying, I'm saying that to say when I look at the decline, like if I look at the 80s and I say, man, there was a lot of brothers in the 80s and the 90s going to jail, and people be like, yeah, that's the reason why the marriage rates went down. And I'd be like, okay, well then I'll give you that. I'll give you 80s and 90s and the war on drugs and the jobs disappearing and the poverty in the ghetto and all that. I'll give you that. But you got to give me the 60s and the 70s. We can't have these things hanging out and then, you know, you want to make a correlation over here, but you don't want to make a correlation over here. You know what I'm saying? You have to give me this. You have to understand that there was a change in the mindset of our women. You can't tell me in 1957 we were married at a rate of 92%. And then by 1965, when the marriage rate has already dropped 6 to 7%, somehow the men just became trash. Like, no, that's impossible. And if the men,
I'm asking, what was it that? Because it's, I mean, bro, it. Imagine what it would take to cause you to turn off from women, black women. Would it have to be something major?
Yeah. I mean, and it's two words really that does that. One is idea and the other one is programming. And that's usually how it goes, right? Because when you go through the 60s and the 70s and you see all the TV shows with all of these strong women like Maude and Mary Tyler Moore and That Girl, and all of these were single women. They were pushing this idea. You don't need a man. You don't need a man. You can do this all by yourself. Now, research shows that all this was based on consumerism. In our community, 70% of the money that goes out is spent by women. So, okay, I'm seeing, that's what I'm saying. When somebody puts something in my face and it's information and it's logical and it makes sense, I just accept it. I don't try to come up with all these reasons why it could be wrong. If it makes sense, it's logical, I can see where it works. Okay, cool. I just accept that, right? Okay, cool. So you did this because you knew that women would be the biggest consumers you ever had in your life. Our women, I mean, they spend $1 billion, $2 billion in the hair market alone every year, right? So, okay, cool. That's neither here nor there. My point is this. When I look at what happened in the 60s, they came with an idea. That idea was feminism, the women's movement. You know, you can do this. You can be just like the man. You can work. You can have the money. You can have the house. You can have all of this. It started out small. Like I said, it was like 1%. The divorce rate was going down like 1% every year from like 1960 to like 1985, where it hit like almost 25%, right? Then from like 1985 to 1999, it took another dip, like another 25%. So whereas at 1960, where we were at like an 80% rate, by 1999, we at 30%. This is how you end up with the 70% of black kids being born out of wedlock type thing. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I'm saying. I'm looking at all of the information. I'm taking my feelings out of it. My feelings ain't got nothing to do with it. I'm looking at all of the information, and I'm saying the greatest weapon in the world is an idea. Propaganda, man. This is what they use to tear people apart, to turn people against each other, to have factions warring against each other for years, but they don't even remember what started it. They just keeping up the war. You see what I'm saying? Because that generates money. I know when I get upset, I go out and spend money. Because if you got angry black women running around and men ain't no good, all they gonna do is spend money. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like, if I look at the idea of what now, like Kevin Samuel said in the beginning, feminism was just about women having a choice. I get that. That's cool. I'm not knocking that. I feel you should have a choice. But then what you don't get to do is exercise that choice, go to school for umpteen years, get all these degrees, and then run around and saying that it ain't no men. When we know that women are hypergamous by nature. They want somebody that's doing better than them. But if the average black man makes $42,000 a year and you done went off and got all these degrees and everything and you making 80, now you looking at me like I ain't nothing. You see what I'm saying? This is where it becomes.
So what should they do?
Honestly, for me at this point, bro, I'm with the duty rhetoric. I'm with that. Straight up. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm with it.
Lower their standards and just get with the brother out of duty.
Yeah, I'm with it, man, because at the end of the day, the one thing that I'm realizing is that our community looks the way that it looks and feels the way that it feels because of broken families.
So then in that case, I mean, based on that line of reasoning, we should probably be considering the arranged marriages there.
Yeah, I would. You see, like what conversation I had with my daughter recently was like, well, what should I be doing? I'm like, right now, where you at, you should be focused on what I have to do to be able to take care of myself so that I can get, work my way out of my mom's house into my own house, light, gas, car, insurance, all that, have all your own stuff. And at the same time, be working on your femininity. You cannot walk around with, because she has that whole, the men ain't this and the men ain't that, and they don't be doing this, and them, she had that same mentality. And I'm like, but you want a man.
Check it out. And so there's your leverage right there.
Mm-hmm.
Ask her to describe the man she wants. Perfect detail. Everything she can think of, describe it, write it down.
Mm-hmm.
And once she's done that, then have her write down what type of woman it takes to get that man.
Right.
And that's her goal right there. That's what she needs to become if that's the type of man she wants. You feel me?
No doubt. Who this? Oh, that's my boy coming up. Now I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm doing that. I'm so glad that you just said that.
Yeah,
I'm doing that, bro. I'm definitely doing that. I am doing that as soon as I talk to her. I'll go because I just gave my son the same type of assignment. He told me he wanted to stream. I told him, all right, write down everything you need to stream. All the stuff that you need. Research it, find out how much each individual piece costs. I said, and then I'm going to find a way for you to work to earn each individual piece. And once you have it all, then you be set to go. And you're going to feel better about it because you had to earn it.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second, bro. Debo, you there? You got to unmute yourself, Debo.
Yo, what's up, dude?
What's going on, man? Can you hear me?
Just tuning in.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we gonna keep rocking. We're gonna keep rocking, man. You can join in and whenever you get ready. Yeah, cuz I'm glad you said that. I'm taking that. That is gonna be a great assignment for me to have my daughter do. And I want to say this too, because I got an opportunity to say it for the people that's gonna end up seeing this, man. Because women are so emotional. And I don't want them to not be emotional. That's their job. You know what I'm saying? It's your job to be emotional. So when I like to use this example. A dad and a mom is together with their kid. The kid is riding a bike. The kid fall off the bike and scrape his knee. The mom comes, kiss your boo-boo. And then the dad comes, all right, get your ass back on that bike. That's the balance. You see what I'm saying? That's the balance that you need to raise a healthy kid. So like when you said, man, what do you think happened? This is why I was talking about that idea came. Like I said, you can't just say, at 1 minute we married at a rate of 80%, and then 5 years later, the men just trash. What I've learned in my research is that women are the purveyors of culture. Think about how the society is set up. If the man is out, even if you go back to hunting gathering days, if the man is out, he's gone from the community. He's hunting, he's gathering, he's politicking, he's warring. You know what I'm saying? Who's there in the community? Who's actually there governing the community? The women are. Like you said, they're the teachers. They're the nurturers. This is what they do. What they, like you said, they teach the kids and the men. They are the purveyors of culture. So if the culture is messed up, how do we blame the men for that? If you want to talk about the money, I'm with you on that. We could say all day long, man, the white man took the jobs out the community. The white man did this. The white man did that. Cool. The white man did that in the 60s and 70s. Okay? Man, the white man brought crack in. He did that in the 80s. It's 2021. There's plenty of opportunities now for us to change this. If they Tulsa, Oklahoma us again, at least we'll be able to record it and put it on social media. All right. But we can't use that as an excuse to not do it. But we not going to fix this by expecting the men to fix it. That's not going to work. You have to go back. Like if I come up to you and I slap you and you slap me back and we both standing there like, and somebody got to fix this, I got to be the one to fix it because I started it. I'm the reason why it started in the first place, right? So for me, I feel like our women have to make the first step. They got, okay, look, let's take a step back. We embraced all of this womanhood with Cosmopolitan and Mademoiselle and Ebony and Essence and all these magazines that ran it down to us and told us we could be strong and independent. I ain't never heard another race of women say we strong and independent. Okay. All the other races of women are married at a rate of 53% or higher. All of them. And they all have degrees and PhDs and all that other stuff too. Right. So I feel like our women have to make the first step to say, okay, we're going to step back from this. We did all this independent stuff. We realized this ain't it. You know what I'm saying? These kids need fathers. We need husbands. Cool. Change the rhetoric. Take that idea and toss it out and bring back a new one or the old one, a new one, whatever you want to do. But make it about family again. And I think that starts with the woman because they are the buffets of culture. Whatever the man becomes, he was first a child. Whatever he becomes, your dad is going to give you the discipline and the knowledge of how to use your hands and work to make money and take care of your family and protect people. But what you are inside, who you become, how you are, your emotional maturity, your psychological maturity, all of that comes from your mom, man. That's why guys who have toxic relationships with their mom, it don't work out well. But you will see a dude that have a great relationship with his mom, but it be messed up with his dad, and he'll be all right in life. You know what I'm saying? Because he can get a job and take care of himself. You know what I'm saying? But he's a better person because he had a better relationship with his mom. Do you think I have a point there?
I think you do. I just wonder if the brothers decided collectively, just how, you said women made up their mind to do the feminist piece. If the brothers decided, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to actually provide for and protect our community, our families, ourselves. We're not going looking for jobs. So it don't matter what nobody did with the jobs because we're going to create communities. We're going to start businesses. We're going to provide jobs within that community. We're going to stand up and do what men in every other community and every other ethnic group have been doing for generations.
Right.
Do you think that the women would still feel the same way about brothers as they do?
I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I if you would have asked me this question about a month ago, I would have said yes. Right now, I'm gonna say it's 50-50. I think 50% of the women would change, and I think another 50% of the women would stay the same. And that's because, again, listen, if you telling me the point, like we were talking about right now, is to build something, right? So, okay, the men have to get together and do this building. But I'm gonna tell you why I feel like that's a mistake. Because even right now, 53% of the Black workforce is women. You know what I'm saying? So even the capital that we need right now to do the building is going to have to, some of that is going to have to come from women. It just is.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Okay, so now here's my point. Real quick, I read a story about this lady. She married to a physician. They both Black. They in the South somewhere. They've been together for like 20 years. I don't even know if they had kids because they never mentioned it. But this lady, she was a real estate agent, and she went to try to get a house somewhere for her husband and her. And she said the people that was real nasty. I think she really was trying to say they was racist, but she didn't want to just say that, right? But she ended up developing like a 52 home area. You know what I'm saying? And she did this on her own, not with her husband. This was she did. You see what I'm saying? The reason why I bring that up is because in my own personal life, bro, I don't want no stay-at-home woman type. I don't want that. And I don't necessarily mean like have a job. I'm just saying I don't want no housewife. I don't want no woman who think, because I see this play out too much in these groups I'm in and on these podcasts, where they think what it's supposed to be is they get to sit at home and not do nothing while the men go out and build everything, and they just get to reap the benefits of it, and then they just waiting for you to die so they can collect everything you got and live their life. I can't subscribe to that idea. I just can't. Y'all fought all these years for equality and independence. You got the equality now. Don't tell me you want to get paid the same as a man, but you don't want the same financial responsibilities as a man. That does not make sense to me. All right. If I work this job and I make 50,000 and you work that job and you make 50,000 and it's expected of me to take care of a wife and kids, you should be expected to take care of a husband and kids. Because right now, like I say, the average black man earn 42K, the average black woman earn 37. So if you put your 37 with my 42, that's basically 80. If we put that 80 together and do it the right way, right? And we save our money for a couple of years and then create another stream of income that we can control, then start having kids. So once we start having kids, you can take off work. You still have a stream of income that you control. And so it's not like we just lost all this money. Plus we got a savings. I mean, it's a smart way to do things, right? And so, like, even with what you were just saying about building a community, I'm all for that. It gives me chills every time I hear people say that, because the thought of that coming to fruition is the most beautiful thing I could ever expect to see, man. When I see old pictures of how Tulsa, Oklahoma used to look, and how neighborhoods on the south side that was black used to look, and it was all nice, and black people was looking all good and stuff, man, it feel good. But the one thing I know is that we not going to be able to just do this as men no more. That's over with. The women are going to have to be included in this.
I mean, but the catalyst, I'm saying as men, we can be the catalyst. We can be the ones who put the plan in motion. You know what I'm saying? Because that's our role. We're supposed to lead the community. We're supposed to be the head of the community, the family, the society, whatever you want to call it. And the head, not so much in a hierarchical type of, superiority piece, but it's just, somebody got to make the first move. If I can kick in your door, you know what I'm saying, in the middle of the night, and you and your family up in your bed sleeping, the first person who I'm supposed to encounter is daddy.
No doubt.
I got to get him to get to everybody else.
No doubt.
But if he off in the back room pushing mama off into the front door, then hell yeah, she gonna resent that nigga. Excuse my language.
No doubt. 100.
And she might fight and save the day, but she's still gonna cuss you for that. You did?
No doubt.
So as men, we do have to step up and we do have to make that move. And our women don't want nothing more, in my opinion, my belief, that they would love nothing more. Black women, based on my experience, black women would love to follow the lead of strong black men. It's just they've been let down so much that they don't want. It's like Charlie Brown trying to kick that football, But if brothers stood up and took a stand and put together a movement and started making things happen, I promise you have all the support. Look how they support these preachers. And they don't do nothing but come in there and talk. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
We start opening banks and real estate companies and life insurance company like we used to have over here on King Drive. You know what I'm saying?
It's so crazy that you just said that, because in my head I was thinking about pimps, and I was thinking about preachers, and I was thinking about football coaches, because these guys, you would consider them leaders. Even a pimp, I think people would consider them leaders, right? But they don't actually do any work. You know what I'm saying? They not the ones out on the field of play. They send the players out on the field. And we know what our battle is dealing with I like to steal the term from Hidden Colors, the dominant society, right? So that don't come off as racist, right? But the dominant society that still plays a part. It's a reason why the average man, average black man, and the average white man and the average Hispanic man make the type of money they make. This guy said in the group earlier today, and I was wondering why nobody else picked up on this, because they keep saying black men need to make more money. Black men need to make more money. And he said, listen, do you realize if all of us, if the average man was making $100,000, that would mean $100,000 ain't really no money? Because they just gonna raise everything up. It does. 42K in Mississippi is not the same as 42K in San Francisco or 42K in New York.
But see,
you know
that's
what I'm saying?
where community comes into play. Because when you have a community, then you set your own currency. We don't even have to. We can deal in a barter system. We don't even have to deal with cash. You feel what I'm saying? We can. I can come in and paint your house, and you come and fix my car. No money is exchanged hands, but we both gotten our needs met. You know, so it's man who defines.
But do you think in 2021, man, that we even have a remote chance of building that way within our community? I know probably other races that probably still do that.
I think now more than ever, because we're in this technological environment where you can have complete anonymity. Nobody has to know the color of your skin. Nobody has to know your zip code. All you have to see is numbers in that computer, and they say, okay, this is a sound investment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the only thing we lack is intelligence. And when I say intelligence, I mean it the same way the government means it when they say it. You know what I'm saying? Right. The information. Yeah. Right. You know, and if you give us the information, we can run circles around anybody on this planet.
Right.
But they
and so there's a demographic who's going to tell you there's a concerted effort to slow down, if not completely prevent, the black man from gaining that sort of traction. You know what I'm saying? I mean, could you even imagine America and the white man makes 52K on average and the black man makes 62K? I can't see them allowing this to happen. So, I mean, I guess my next question would be, are we going to do this in America?
But see, that's the whole thing, bro. It's how can I put it? It's bigger than America now. You know what I'm saying? The cyber world, that box has been exploded. It's not about where you are, you know, because you can sit down in front of this computer and reach out to the whole planet.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a sound idea, if you have a quality product, if you have a decent price, if you have a strong business plan, then you can make moves and nobody can stop you. The shackles are right here because we tell ourselves, oh, the white man ain't gonna let us make more money. There's no more, the fence. It's like I saw this experiment they did one time where they had, I heard about it, I didn't see it, but they had a big aquarium, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they put a glass divider in between the two sides of the aquarium. And on one side of the aquarium, they put piranhas. And on the other side, they put like goldfish or guppies or whatever piranha eat, you know? And when the piranhas see these guppies or whatever, of course, blam, they try to come at them, but bam, it's against the wall.
Right.
So after so much time, they realize it's a wall there, it's a barrier, we can't get to them. So they stop trying. Then the folks doing the experiment removed the barrier. And guess what? They still didn't go to the other side of that aquarium because they had conditioned to fail.
Right, yeah.
So that conditioning overrode their natural instincts to feed.
I get that. I get that. I'm not gonna lie, I get that. And I definitely am not one of those people who will say, on an individual basis, you can't get it. You can get to the bag. If you got a plan and you see it through, you can get to the bag. But we talking about on a mass scale, because you got to know something else that I'm starting to realize. If we do it over here, it's going to happen in the UK. You know what I'm saying? It's going
Good.
the black people everywhere is going to be like,
Good.
all right, well, us too then.
That's how these other folks doing it. You know what I'm saying? If it worked for one, it can work for others.
I would hope so, man. I mean, like I say, it's not that I would never talk down on the idea. And it ain't like I don't think we can do it. You know what I'm saying? It's just that I feel like at this point, we're basically saying then, like you just said, the barrier don't exist. I'm wondering how many people would be willing to accept that idea, that the barrier doesn't exist.
What is the barrier? Look at what we're doing right here. You and me right now, we're sitting here having a whole conversation, looking at each other's faces in two totally different locations,
right?
Discussing our ideas, thoughts, and opinions with no barrier,
right?
And we can be chopping up numbers, we can be whatever. The barrier is gone, bro. The barrier is right here. You know, and I think that, and some folks might not like to hear this, but I think that Black folks have gotten comfortable and complacent with playing the victim. You know, especially Black men. It's easy to say, oh, well, my mama smoked crack and my daddy was locked up and I had to go out here and I had, yeah, everybody got some kind of drama they could tell you about. But at the end of the day, it don't count unless you overcame it. You know, I know cats my age still talking about stuff that happened to them when they was 8, 9, 10 years old.
Right.
And not to say that it ain't real, not to say that it didn't affect the people who they become, just saying that it's gone. You know?
Yeah, I dig that part too, man, because I know I did that for a long time. And it's still hard, really, to be honest with you. But the one thing I will say is that I think, because I had this conversation the other night with my I guess she's my mother-in-law, because we were talking about depression, and she was saying how, you know, oh, depression ain't nothing but a spirit. And I'm like, well, I don't believe that, right? So, because like my mom has bronchitis. You know, my mom's super religious. My mom be battling with that bronchitis though. Hey, she don't just be praying it away. She got a breathing machine. She got breathing treatments. She got medicine stuff she take. You know what I'm saying? And the thing when you're dealing with people's minds is that people think you can just turn stuff on and off, man. I was supposed to have been catching a flight. I think that was September the 10th, man. I was supposed to have been catching a flight to Myrtle Beach for my lady's birthday. We had a whole weekend planned, hotel booked, all type of stuff. I went to get on the plane, straight anxiety attack. I'm talking about, felt like the only way I can describe it is like having a spidey sense. You know what I'm saying? I learned that this term, your fight or flight system. You know what I'm saying? And mine has been damaged, bro. You know what I mean? From trauma as a kid, all of that stuff. Like some things when people say, oh man, my mama was this, my dad was this, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, there are some people who use that as an excuse to be lazy. But there are some people who don't know this yet, but those things actually affect the way that your brain works. It affects your processing. You understand what I'm saying? To the point where you have anxiety and you're battling depression, and it's really is PTSD, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I try to read people and, you know, see if they just making excuses or whatever, or if they're just how can I say, if they're just you know, children when it comes to the terminology of what they're going through. You know, like it's hard for a kid to express themselves. You try to ask a 6 or 7-year-old what's wrong, and they'll sit there for 10 minutes before they get some words out because they don't really know how to put it together. They can feel it, but they don't know how to say it. And a lot of adults is like that too. I'm one of them. That's how I know. You know what I'm saying? It took for me this year, because this year, 43 years old, I was watching Kevin Samuels, and he had this episode where he was like, look, I'm going to tell you men like this. If you're not working 50, 60 hours a week, you don't want nothing. You don't want no money. You ain't trying to get to nothing. Not even at 40, because that ain't no money. They taxing and taking it from you. You know what I'm saying? He's like, you got to be putting in 50. You got to be putting in 60, man. That's how you get to it. He was like, I don't care if you're working for somebody else or you're working for yourself. You have to put the time in, right? And so at that time, I was working a part-time job delivering food for this little chicken restaurant. And I went and applied. This was January. I went and applied to this warehouse job. It was one of them warehouses where it's traffic going in and out of it, so the doors was always open, so it was always cold up in there, right? Everybody got on multiple layers, bro. But I was giving them their little 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. I worked there a couple of weeks, got into it with somebody, boom, they let me go, and I got this job on the forklift. And they said, look, we want y'all to work the weekend. 10-hour days, you work all 4 days, we're going to give you a $500 bonus. I'm like, man, I don't want to work like this, man. Forget it. I signed up, and it was like that a couple of days before that happened, I seen that episode where Kevin Samuels said that, and I'm like, I'm counting on my hand, I'm like, okay, this is going to be 50 hours. Because I worked 90 hours. I worked 9 days straight, 10-hour shift. And when I saw that check, bro, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, hey, y'all need some more overtime. Y'all need me? What's up, bro? And I'm talking about I started doing that every week. If I wasn't doing 50, I was telling places, look, if you ain't got 50 for me, I don't want to be here, bro. You know what I'm saying? I need 50. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be here. I'm going to give you this little time. I'm going to come in earlier because I don't want to stay later. You know what I'm saying? But I got you. And so, man, I started grinding. You know what I'm saying? And what I realized was, and I don't mind, is the devil's playground. Me sitting around, me trying to get a job where I'm not working a lot because I'm just sitting around and then being depressed and going through all the stuff that ever happened to me ever. I'm arguing with my mom and Sadarad and everybody that ever did anything wrong to me. I'm just sitting around wallowing in that. But when I was going to work, I'm at work, I'm on the forklift, I'm doing stuff, I'm cracking jokes, I'm laughing, I'm having lunch, I'm feeling good about myself. And then when the check is coming, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? And so I realized then, man, this is a antidote for depression. This is working for filling your time up with stuff. I got a gym membership, even though I barely go. But I know when I do go, I feel good. I go get in the pool for an hour, get out the pool, then go in there, get on the treadmill and lift a little weights, and I feel good. You know what I'm saying? But it's hard to do that. It's hard to even get to that step. You see what I'm saying? And so me personally, bro, I'm on this kick right now. And it was so funny because Kevin Samuels said this last night. I was talking about it at the beginning of the show. Some girl came on there and he was asking her, would she marry a dude that made average money? And she was like, so you asked me would I be with a broke man? And he went off on her. Like, don't call no average earning man broke. That ain't broke. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm like, I ain't gonna say I was triggered, but when you said what you said, and I know you didn't mean it this way, but when you were saying what you're saying about people making excuses, I immediately got on the defensive, right? Because I know I was that guy, and I know other people that's like this because they can't even explain what it is. They just know that this stuff is bothering them. They don't know that they're depressed. They don't know that they have anxiety. They don't know that they have this unresolved trauma in their life. I don't know too many Black people that ever went to therapy. because we tend to shun that and make it seem like there's something wrong with you. But I try to get people to understand the brain is a muscle just like everything else. If it's something wrong with your lungs, you don't look down on a person, right?
Right.
See, so I know you didn't mean it that way, but I just went on a 7-minute whole little soliloquy because of the fact that I felt like I had to speak up for people. You know what I'm saying?
I
Who
feel
may
that.
be sick in that way.
But what I'm talking about even goes deeper than that. You know, we talking all the way back 400 years. You know, the post-traumatic slave syndrome. That I mean, if you learn about PTSD and trauma and that type of stuff, what you find out is that it's intergenerational. You know, it's something that stays in your DNA. It's, you know, so this is something that's just been compounded. Oh, so the fact that the crack epidemic negatively impacted my family, that's just adding on to what I was already. You know what I'm saying? So it just the fact that you're a black man in America carries trauma and stress with it, you know, and then it's just compounded based on our own personal individual experience.
Right, exactly.
So it's
that's why I can't. That's why for the women, it's like, honestly, I don't be trying to hit at. You have a job. The man has a job. You say provide, protect. The woman has a job, nurture and teach. You don't get to stop doing your job because we are at war with these white people, because we're under attack, because they did what they did to us and they undermined us. You don't get to stop doing your job. You still got to do your job, because provide and protect is a concept that was around before there was ever a dollar or a job to be had. It wasn't built on this. It was built on something else, what they term hunter-gatherer. It was built on that. This is a whole different ball game. It's not the same. And you can't expect for us to have the same results as the dominant society, the one who keeps creating and changing the rules along the way. It's not going to play out the same.
And that's that goes back to what you were saying about, can this happen in America?
Right.
America is functioning exactly the way America was designed to function.
Facts.
You feel what I'm saying? So what we're talking about is not part of the American dream. It's not part of the American plan.
Right.
But because we are in America physically, that doesn't necessarily have to limit or constrain our abilities to reach out and do what we need to do in order to do what we need to do the way that it used to when we were limited by the physical constraints. You see what I'm saying?
I do.
So this whole internet and all of this stuff that's going on, it's a whole different scenario. You know,
it really is, though. I ain't gonna lie, because this right here is even just amazing for me, man. This platform,
we can be,
you know what I'm saying?
Of it. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I think that like they say, the final frontier, I think that's where we are. And so this is our chance to show and prove, else, you know, suffer in silence. You know, you don't get to complain when you ain't did nothing to fix your situation.
No doubt. I agree with that. That's why I don't anymore. I used to complain, but I don't anymore now. Like, the only thing that I talk about is relationships, really. Like, on this platform, I try to talk about everything. You know what I'm saying? That's why I was telling you I wanted to do all men's podcast. I was thinking about calling it For You, My Brother. You know what I'm saying? Well, we just talk about all of the stuff that we are aware of at our ages that we might have lacked growing up, that these kids might be lacking right now. You know what I'm saying? Especially on the financial side. I'm trying to get my boy K-Ron to come on, because he know a whole lot about this crypto stuff I don't know nothing about. And then I got my boy Byron. He know about investing and stuff. You know, stuff that I just don't even know about. But I want to bring them on, you know what I'm saying, and then have you come on too as well, like I said, because I know that you have a lot of information that you can help mold the minds of the up and coming generations, and then have some younger cats on that may have some questions. You know what I'm saying? To ask of all three of you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna just play moderator and sit back and get my learn on too, because I'm still trying to figure it out. You know, and I got a 16-year-old that I'm trying to, man, every day I feel like I just want to, every little thing I come by, I'm sending it to his phone. You know, every little meme about eating healthy or doing this, or every little good saying, man, it's like I just want to give him everything, you know, because you're not promised tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? I just buried my youngest brother in May, and he got a baby on the way. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, but I want to ask you this real quick, and I know this is, I feel like this is kind of going backwards, but I gotta ask. What's your opinion on the Willie Lynch letter?
My opinion in terms of, do I think it's valid, or do I think it's
what? Do you like? Well, I mean, at this point, we know the whole story around it ain't true, right? But when you look at it and you understand the time that it was written in, the community looks like this now, right? Well, especially the part where they talk about the breaking of they call it the breaking of the female nigger. And they talk about how we're going to devalue and undermine and destroy the black man in front of her so that she gets into this independent state. And in that independent state, she's going to raise her daughters to be independent and her sons to be dependent. And you'll have the woman out front and the man in the back. And that's exactly what the community looks like right now, right? So I read something that said this was actually written by a Muslim woman who saw what was coming, right? There's no proof that this is true, but when you look at the Willie Lynch letter itself, I guess what I'm really asking you is, do you think it can be used as a tool to educate people on what we're going through right now in our community? Because a lot of people would say no, because they don't agree with the validity of it.
Well, I mean, it's anybody who's serious about putting something on young people's mind and who are aware of the Willie Lynch letter are using it as a teaching tool. Right. I'm confident in that. I know a lot of educators. I know a lot of freedom fighters.
Right, yeah, no doubt.
I know a lot of parents. In fact, my mother, she has a little session with my nieces, like once a month or something, where they all just get together and she talks to them about things they need to know coming up as Black women. Wow. And the last time they met, that's what they were talking about. The Willie. Yes, sir. So anybody I know who got a brain in their head, who's come across it, recognizes the fact that I don't care if it was written by Martians.
Right.
The truth don't change.
Right.
You know, and if you lay it out right here in these terms, and I can turn around and see it right here in my backyard, then you get caught up in the minutia. We like to major in the minors, as I like to say. Right. We caught up in, well, it couldn't have been him, or who wrote it, or what. That's like a few years back, they had this letter from the Ku Klux Klan.
I think I remember hearing something about that.
Yeah, and they were saying basically, well, we want to thank you, Black people, for killing each other and selling each other.
Yeah, I do remember that.
We ain't got.
I was dying laughing.
Yeah, and then, well, that wasn't really. It don't matter. It don't matter if the Klan actually wrote it. It's true.
Right, no doubt.
At the end of the day, that's all that matters to me. Right. So I think it's a valuable piece. And I think it's a very the way that it's described and the diabolical nature of how it's laid out really does sound like something that a European slave owner might conceptualized.
Right.
So if it wasn't actually written by some white slave owner, plantation owner, whatever you want to call them, then it was written by somebody who was very familiar with his thought process and his tactics.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Hey man, I'm so glad I asked you that question because honestly, I like to use that, and I just hate it when people come and like, oh man, this has been debunked, this and then it's like, are we really having this conversation? You just saying like this thing been around for almost 5 decades, maybe now, and I mean, when you look at the community, it looked just like this. You know what I'm saying? And so at some point, I feel like, and the reason why I like to use stuff like that is because I give you an example, right? So I was talking to somebody in the Facebook group I'm in, and they asked some question. And so I made this list of things that I felt was wrong, right? Whatever it was about. And it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 things that I said was wrong. And this person was like, well, what is it that you think we should do about that? And I'm like, I literally just gave you the answers when I told you what was wrong. You do the opposite of that. The answers is in what's finding out what's wrong. That's why they tell you the first step in problem solving is to find out what caused the problem. And then you do the opposite of that. Right. You stop doing that. You know what I'm saying? You don't do that no more. Right. And that's how you impede the problem for continuing. You see what I'm saying? So I'm saying if we look at this and we say, okay, so this is what they did. All right, let's do the opposite of that. You see what I'm saying? Now, this one guy that I watch, it's a podcast that I watch called Lapeef Let's Talk. It's really good. I'm not going to lie. The guy on there, Anton, he is one of those guys that says, the men have to do this and the men have to do that. One thing I like about him is he holds women accountable on their stuff. But he is one of those guys that talks like the men have to be the ones to repair this. We have to get our stuff together financially. We have to be the best versions of ourselves and this and that. And prior to listening to him, I really didn't think of it like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't think of it like, okay, like how you said, we come together and we build and do this and that, because I just felt like we was too far gone from that. But now that I can witness a few people doing some things, then it seems more plausible to me, right? So I'm looking at this situation with him and I'm saying to myself, okay, he's saying that the men got to get together and do this and do that. Okay, well, the Willie Lynch letter said this is what they did. They undermined the men. Okay, cool. So what I do is I take that part out where they did this to the men. Okay, so we have to correct that. The women can correct that for us. You see what I'm saying? They did that to us. We have to correct it. And then the women have to correct this other part. You see what I'm saying? We all have a job to do. And I feel like when I see people talking about women, particularly posting about men and the stuff that they go through with men and this and that, bro, I don't gaslight people. I don't try to pretend like your experiences don't matter. You know what I'm saying? I don't go on nobody's posts when they talking about how men be behaving and this and that and be like, yeah, but what about women? But what? I don't do none of that. Hold men accountable. I'm all for it. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to do that to myself. I'm trying to be the best version of myself, except I still do eat too much meat and cheese. But I really am trying to be the best version of myself, right? So I got one last question for you before I let you go. I want you to give me just take a couple of minutes, cuz, and tell the viewing public, tell the men watching or the women watching, because you've been married for a while now. What if there's a key to having a successful marriage? Is if there's an idea to having a successful marriage, I mean, long-term relationship, like, what are we doing wrong? And what have you done right?
I have no idea, bro.
That's actually a great answer, to be honest with you. It's actually a great answer.
Everybody's crazy. Everybody's
Facts.
crazy. So I think it's just about finding somebody whose crazy matches your own as much as possible.
There you go.
Because we all crazy and we all have our own type of crazy. But I mean, really, I think, I mean, not to say that I don't believe that, but
Right.
I don't want to.
Because that's a me answer. That's definitely what I would say. I'm pretty sure I've posted that about 30 times on Facebook.
I don't want to come off facetious, though. I would say,
No doubt.
really, at the end of the day, what it probably boils down to, at least in my situation, is values.
Yeah.
And some values can be crazy, so that doesn't necessarily discount the previous statement.
Right.
If you have someone whose values match your own, like on the surface, if you look at me and my wife, you probably think that we were and no, we are, very different. She's a total extrovert, I'm a total introvert. She's into church, I'm into spirituality. She's, you know what I'm saying? However, nothing that I do or think or believe contradicts anything that she does or thinks or believes, or vice versa, right? So she gets her spiritual piece out of the church, but there's nothing in her religion that contradicts what I believe.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. No doubt.
In terms of like parenting, we share the same understanding of how people should be and how family should be and how the world should be, essentially, on a fundamental level. And I think if you can find somebody who you can get that balance with, you're off to probably the best start, because there's nothing that, at least for me, there's nothing I find more difficult to deal with is someone whose values I can't get behind.
Right. Yeah. No doubt. Okay, man. Oh, wait. This one's gonna be quick. I don't know how to say it, but do you think it's okay to whoop kids?
Only if they're yours. No. I don't really think it's productive. I think that it has a purpose, but I think some folks use it a little too generously. I think a lot of folks use it as like a quick fix. I think the original intent behind it was like back during the, more quote unquote primitive times.
Right.
There were dangers out there, and you had to, if I see my child about to reach for a snake and I smack his hand, that's because I need him to know quick. No, that's right. Totally unacceptable. Right. And so it was used, I think, as a teaching tool back in the day. And then, of course, with the whole slavery piece, it was turned into something more perverse and more vicious than originally intended. And I think a lot of what our parents use today is probably more akin to what the slave masters were doing than what our ancestors were doing.
Big facts. And I don't, and me personally, man, like my thought on it is just like yours. And I also say, in my opinion, that if it comes to that with like the whooping of a child, I feel like the parent went wrong somewhere. You know what I'm saying? I don't, because with my son, my kids, this is what I told them. I'm only gonna whoop you if you disobey me. I'm not gonna whoop you for nothing like if you just go do some stuff. I'm not gonna whoop you for experience in life. You know what I'm saying? You making mistakes or what? And I did it. I'm not finna beat you for that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not finna be hitting on you for that. But I will whoop you if you disobey me. You know what I'm saying? I think I might have whooped my daughter once in her whole life. She might have been like 6 or 7 or something, and it wasn't even that bad, a couple of hits. But my son, I used to get at him from like 1.5 to about probably about three, about 1.5 to about 3.5. So about a good 2-year span. I used to get in his behind when he was real little, because not like beating him though, you know what I'm saying? But when he was 1.5, I would tap them thighs, you know what I'm saying? Because he was doing a lot of feminine stuff, you know, hands on his hip and all that. I'm like, I'm beating this out of you. You know what I'm saying? You the only son I got. You know what I'm saying? I ain't taking no chances. But then after he grew out of that, I might have whipped him maybe 2 or 3 times while he was like 4 or 5 years old. And it was for him being disobedient, which was, I told him, and it was the same thing each time. Stop throwing that controller, the video game controller. He get mad because he lose and he throw it against the ground. And so I think like the second time I told him that, I whooped him, hit him, you know, a few times with the belt. The third time he did it, I hit him a few times with the belt, and then I went and sat on the couch and cried like a baby. I cried like a baby. And my baby mama came in there, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, man, I just whooped Jeremiah for throwing the controller on the floor. And she like, yeah, he don't need to be doing that. I'm like, yeah, but I'm the one who taught him how to do that. He been watching me do that since he was born. Bro, I done stomped Xboxes out in front of him, picked them up, and I'm dead serious, cuz like literally stomped that. My boy was up there kicking my behind in the Madden one day, man. I stomped my whole Xbox out, took the Xbox and threw it out the window. We stayed on the 3rd floor. You know what I'm saying? He's seen me do this. And now here I am 3-4 years later, and I'm finna whoop you for doing something I taught you how to do. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just like at that I just look at that. I look at kids when they go to school and they start exhibiting certain behaviors that you know they got from at home or whoever you done had them around, and now you want to beat it out of them. You see what I'm saying? So I'm with you. I agree with you 100%. It has its place sometimes, but
I think if it was effective, I mean, I guess you could say the same thing about churches. You know, if it worked, then we wouldn't be in the situation we're in right now, because it's been plenty of churches throughout our history. It's been plenty of whoopings throughout our history. Folks been getting whooped since we got to this country. So if it worked, we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in. You know,
see, man, I'm gonna have to have you back on now. Now you're playing with my emotions right now, because this is a topic that I wanted to have. I've been waiting for my guy Byron to be free, because I'm doing my podcast on Tuesdays, and guess what he had on Tuesdays? He had church. You know what I'm saying? And when he first told me that, I'm like, what? I'm like, you going to church? He like, man, 3 Tuesdays out of every month. I'm like, what, bro? So I really want to have this conversation with him, you know what I'm saying, to kind of just like gauge where his mind is at. What is it that he's accepting? Is it anything that he has, you know? Like I say, I'm cool with the Bible itself because there's a lot of good morals and principles and stuff to live by. But you're not convincing me that some dude chilled in a whale mouth for 3 days. You know what I'm saying? Like
all of that right there. I don't. If that works for you, then cool, run with it. You know what I'm saying? I don't have any problem. I have 2 rules that I live by. That's it. Okay. Don't hurt nobody. Don't take nothing from nobody.
Right.
Now, of course, in exchange, can't nobody hurt me or take nothing from me.
Right.
As long as they're not trying to do that, then they have no problem from me.
Right.
Any belief system that you find, ultimately, that's really what it boils down to. You know, don't hurt nobody, don't take nothing from nobody. Do right, be right. So as long as that's the foundation of your belief system, I'm cool with it. I don't care what you believe or how you worship or what your, you know, script is, or scripture, I should say. You got that.
I did.
That's that. If it works for you, then do it.
Right.
Just don't try to make me do it. You know,
no doubt.
That's my philosophy. You know, I got 2 rules. You know, like what KRS say: man-made laws, made man lost. I think our problems, we got too many rules. We got too many. You know, the basic fundamentals: do right, be right. You know.
See, and this one I gotta. Cuz you're gonna have to let me know when I can have you back on. Because we're gonna have to go. We're gonna have to go into those 2.
I gotta be at the job in the morning, so I'm about to get up out of here in a minute.
Yeah, no doubt.
But, man, it's been one, bro.
I'm gonna get in touch with you, man. You're gonna have to let me know when I can have you back on, because I definitely want to have a conversation about the religion, and I want to talk about laws. This is what I'm saying. I'm trying to talk about it all, bro. I'm trying to create, and I might have told you this. I'm trying to create, you know what I'm saying, a body of work that can raise my son and other men that might be down or, didn't have it or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to create a body of work that I could be proud of, that my mom can watch, that my, whoever, man, because at the end of the day, pardon me, because, with the music, I can't really say I can do that. You know what I mean? I did and said some things in the music that I don't really want my mama to hear. So, but listen, man, it was a pleasure having you. You know what I'm saying?
Able to tune in. Definitely was cool.
Thank you, man. Please, don't be afraid to subscribe to the channel. Don't be afraid to tell your friends about it. And I'm gonna hit you and you let me know when you can make it back, and then I'm gonna save those topics for when you come back, because like I said, I try to tune my topics to who I think is coming on. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes. So if I have a younger generation, then I think I'll have more topics where I'm asking them questions to get their opinion on what's going on in their world. Because I don't watch TV really that much. So, I'm not getting all the programming that they get. You know what I'm saying? But I know you're a wise guy. You know what I'm saying? Big cuz out here. You know what I'm saying? It was love having you, man. This is my favorite episode. Right up. Hey, you and my niece Jasmine is my favorite episodes right now, because my niece Jasmine, even though she young, man, she an old soul. She got it going on. Her boyfriend, they just got engaged. Her fiance doing their thing out here, cuz
that's what's
both of them got jobs and they running 3 businesses.
Beautiful.
Get it in, bro. You hear me? So it was much love talking to you, cuz I'm gonna be in touch with you soon. I'm gonna do my little outro and I'm gonna get out of here.
All right, baby boy. Give them a love. Tell the family. Tell everybody what's up. And I'll holler at you in a minute.
No doubt. Triple Blak, y'all.
All right, peace.
Man, listen, man. Hey, big cuz came through for your boy on the show, man. Cuz got that knowledge. So listen, this is what I'm gonna do, right? He don't even know. I ain't even tell him. My cousin, Triple Blak, who was just on the show, he got a lot in his bag, bro. He was a poet, a teacher, all kind of stuff, man. He was on Def Poetry Jam, all that, right? So what I did was I found one of his videos where I think this is Def Poetry Jam. And so I'm gonna play that for y'all real quick and let y'all enjoy that so y'all can see this man, he been about it, man. And I'm gonna be right back after I play this video for y'all. Let me catch it real quick. Put it right here. Oh yeah, I forgot I moved it. Here we go.
From Chicago, please give it up for Triple Blak.
I feel much love. When I peep the technique and talent through which my peeps speak, man, I get weak. Start catching feelings and thinking about my seeds and how I watch my brothers break their backs to provide for their shorties' needs. 'Cause that's love. Love for a life force brought into being by their own seeds. Love can make the baddest brother beg, borrow, steal, or bleed. Man, I seen love make brethren plead. Baby, just let me see my kids. Love will let you overlook all that foul ass shit she did. Love will let you love your brother's child as if it was your own. With love come responsibility, especially if you grown. Love will help you understand that if he's a child and you're a man, then automatically off top you become his teacher. I'm trying to reach you, whether you're a poet or a pedophile, a pimp or a preacher. What he sees you do, that's what he'll begin to do. So who do you think taught these kids all about killing? And who do you think taught them this art of drug dealing? And who do you think taught them to treat their sisters just like whores? And who do you think taught them that it's all right to destroy what's yours? The same ones who set it off them, the same ones who gotta squash it. This is our dirty laundry, so it's our responsibility to wash it. I live for what I die for, and I die for what I love. So now I'm living for the future. Catch me bleeding, grab a suture, patch me up, then send me back out to the battlegrounds. Even if I'm out of rounds, I'll pistol whip a punk for mistreating my shorties. I sees out the future, yo. We can't keep disrespecting them. We have to stop neglecting them. We got to start protecting them. Peace.
Give it up for Triple Blak, y'all.
Word up, man. Word up, man. Cuzzo on stage. Triple Blak, Def Poetry Jam. Introduced by Most Def and all that. You feel me? So listen, man. Man, this ended up being a really good show, man. I really enjoyed myself. I got to be myself. Big Cuzzo come on. Got to chop it up with him. Next week, I hope my boy is available, man. I hope this dude ain't in church again. Byron, I need you to not be in church next Tuesday, bro. Come on, man. I need you on the show because I want to talk about this investing thing, man. Get some information out to the people, bro, and tell them what they need to do. I got like I was telling my cousin, the show I'm trying to do where it's just gonna be all men, and we talk about things from the men perspective and what we lost at, what we won at, what we could do better, what we've been doing good. Everybody need praise, everybody need uplifting, everybody, need congratulations, and so we're gonna do some of that, but we also gonna do some holding accountable, and we're gonna do some of that too, man. So for everybody who has watched this program, I want to say thank you. I want to thank you for watching my podcast. All right, I'm gonna leave y'all with my favorite beat right now, and we're gonna be back next week, y'all. Deuces.
If you're focused on something, then you can take things into your own control. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not easy. Expect pain, expect anxiety, expect everything to go wrong, and just be cool. Breathe easy, and then just see it out. It's never going to happen the way you want it to happen, ever. And if it does, do not trust it. It's the devil. should have to be nice to get somebody to give me something. If my product is good, no matter how I act, you will pay for it.